Hi everybody, this is Paul from Kentucky Tacklebox. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about fishing in 2026, and I'm going to go through some of the gear I've been using over the last couple of years and how I've my fishing lures that I carry with me when I go out have evolved, and what I'm using and why I'm using it. And then it, I'll kind of share what I'm doing, and then hopefully maybe some of you also would like to share some stuff in the comments at the end of the video about some of your favorite lures and what you're using, why you like to use them. But I'll start at the beginning. So probably my most favorite lures that I like to use really are rooster tails, and I use these in a lot of different sizes. I keep them in normally in my bigger boxes like this. I'll use 1/6 ounce and some 1/4 ounce, and I have a couple different styles. I have the standard rooster tails up here, and then down below I have some of these newer ones that are called Joe's Flies rooster tails. They're I think made out of West Virginia, and they use like a Colorado blade instead of a willow blade. I also like to use underspins at various times of the year. So I have a couple of these fin spins by Leland, and I think these are Buckeye lures uh, that are another style underspin that I like to carry as well. Both of those have been really good for me catching fish, especially during transitional periods of the year. The rooster tails, I can pretty much fish those year round. And then moving on, another tackle box I have, this is kind of what I call my combination box. I've got jig heads in various sizes here. I have some Ned rig heads in various weights, and then I have some jig heads in a couple of different sizes. I think these are 1/8 ounce down here. Actually, those are 3/16. These are some 1/8, and then down here is a mix of 1/16 and 1/32. I also have a few topwater lures in here. Some Zara Spook Juniors, Rapala Pop R's in different sizes. I got some larger ones and some smaller ones. And then I have a head and torpedo, and then a jerk bait, and then a couple of bobbers in there. And I use weighted bobbers. And then I have a few different style of spinner baits, different sizes, different blade colors. Some are willows, some are Colorado, some are mixed, some are chrome colored, and some are silver colored. And I also have a couple other topwater lures. These are like the Whopper Ploppers in the smallest size that they make, which is like a size 60. And then moving on, the other stuff I like to throw a lot is crankbaits. I've got a pretty good selection. I'm really partial to the Berkeley Flicker Shad, and I carry these in a few different sizes. I have some number fives here in various colors, and I usually try to keep a backup as well because on a day you're out fishing, nothing worse than having one particular color doing well and then snagging up and breaking off. So having an emergency backup is really nice when you're on the water if you can swing it with your fishing budget. And I also have a few larger size ones too. Some of these are the number sixes, and I have a couple number seven flicker shads as well. And then the other ones here, these are, I think these are Strike Keen. They might be KBDs. They may be the non-KBDs. I can't remember. These are great because they only go down about 2 to 4 feet, and they're great for bank fishing along the shoreline. I've caught quite a few bass with these as well. And then these other ones are a new lure I was going to try this year. These are made by Berkeley. They're called the Money Badger. I haven't tried these out yet, but they do a really nice job of emulating the look of a crawfish, and they're supposed to be a really good hunting lure. So I plan to get out and do some more bank fishing with these probably come springtime once the pre-spawn starts. And then down below here, I have a couple lures that I've actually found at the lake that were somebody else lost. Another one that it looks like a flicker shad, but it's not. It's just a similar design. And then a larger crankbait too, which I've downsized the trebles on. So from there, moving into my soft plastics, I carry a few different styles. I like the crappie magnets by Leland. I use those. Panfish Assassin makes some good stuff. Some that have just like a small pointy tail. Then there's a few here that have the curly tails on them in a couple different color schemes. And then I also love to throw the Bobby Garlands on jig heads. I got several different colors of those. This kind of orange and green color does a great job emulating a panfish, and these other ones that have like more of a translucent green with a little orange flake are really nice. And then these ones that have the red speckles with the white, I've caught a few fish on those as well. The pink ones, I've used them a few times. I haven't had any luck, but I keep trying to see if I'm going to catch anything with those. And then moving on, this year I also started getting into a little more serious Ned rigs. So I'm using the Z-Man TRDs in a couple different colors. One's called the Hot Craw color. The other one's the typical green pumpkin color. And these do tend to float, which is nice. So they'll kind of bounce along the water. Instead of laying flat, they'll kind of bounce like this, which is nice. Good way to entice a fish to come and attack them. And then again, some twirly tails, and have a few paddle tails in here. These are kind of like a monkey milk style color. And then I also have some of these Yum forward facing sonar minnows there. I think 3 inchers, yeah. And these have a nice color. They mimic a shad pattern pretty well. And that's most of the gear that I actually carry with me on a regular basis. Now, this is typically what I would use if I'm out lake fishing. If I'm going into the creeks, I have a couple of these mini tackle boxes that I'll bring with me as well. And this just uses some downsized rooster tails in here. These are like 1/8 ounces, and I have a couple 1/16 ounce I'll throw in there sometimes as well. And then if I'm going after topwater panfish, I have a box of poppers, some foam spiders, and then some weighted bobbers to use with them so I can get good casting distance with these. And these are a lot of fun to topwater fish, panfish in the spring when they're starting to get active. And then beyond that, some of the lures that I've done videos on the channel with recently that I've modified, I also keep in the tackle box as well. This is what the reverse rooster tail, where I used one of these VMC bladed trebles and put it in the front. And this is really great when the bass are striking aggressively so that they don't end up deep throating the hook and making it hard to get it out without damaging the fish. Putting these in front when they're attacking your roosters is definitely a good way to get them to get hooked in the lip where you want them hooked. The other one, the head and torpedo, where I moved the propeller from the rear to the front, that caught me a very large bass this year. Those two mods have really done really well. This other one I'm starting to just play around with now, which uses a bladed treble again with a jig head tight below it. So this replaces the bobber. I'm starting to play around with this and fish it. And then this is one I did recently about taking a crappie rig, reconfiguring it to a dual where they're side by side instead of one above the other. And then I also have this rig with the small weighted EWG hook and a mini crankbait, which allows you to throw it on heavier gear. So between all the stuff you see here and that, it gives me a good variety and some options. And the stuff I profiled covers fishing the top of the water column, the middle of the water column, and the bottom of the water column. And I feel that's also very important because different times of the year, different weather conditions, that's going to affect where the fish are going to be wanting to hang out and where they're going to be feeding from. So you might want to keep that in mind as you build your tackle kit, when you go fishing. But feel free to, at the end of the video, leave any comments about any of your favorite lures. If there's anything I didn't touch on that you really like or you feel is a great lure, please leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you like. And as always, thanks again for watching the channel. And now that we're into 2026, hope everybody gets out and gets on some good fish. I know the year started out great for me already. So thanks again. We'll see you next time. Bye.